One of the challenges a lot of local businesses face is being seen, even though they're sitting in plain sight. A lot of times when you have a local business, you can feel as though that you've got a great product, you're in a great location, but you're still not getting enough customers. And if that's you, I want to talk to you about a strategy we use on Facebook, on Instagram, in meta advertising that literally you can start with almost any budget that'll help you get found by your ideal target almost within a week. Welcome back to the Mindshare Podcast. I'm your host, Darrell Evans. And listen, if you're in a local market and your customers come to you within a 2 mile to maybe 3, 4, 5 mile radius, then this video is for you. I'm going to teach you a strategy that can help you build your brand visibility in your local market and why you should use this strategy starting as soon as you get done with this video. And almost anyone can do it. So stick around. I'm going to walk you through it step by step. And if you want to learn more about how to execute it, if you've never run Facebook ads, then feel free to come into our inner circle where we've got the entire playbook sitting there waiting for you. And you can see that link down below. So let's talk about the problem. I remember in 2008, where I lived, there was a shopping center that was literally just over a brick wall. So if you walked out of the house, jumped over this brick wall, you'd be in the shopping center. I'd go into the shopping center for, things that I normally would need. There was a Jack in the Box there was a 7-Eleven there was a Dunkin' Donuts there was a market called Fresh and Easy, which was basically like a food market, like a fresh food market. But when you go into a location like that, you tend to go in it and get the thing that you need, right? I remember not knowing until this company was going out of business that there was a soul food restaurant sitting in that location. I'd been living there for a few years. I'd never seen an ad. I'd never seen a flyer. I'd never seen anything on social media. And I didn't even know they were there until they were going out of business. I've noticed this a few other times. We were working with a tutoring company out of San Jose, California. And one of their biggest competitors was a company called Mathnasium, and they're here in the United States. And they're a large corporation, I don't know if they're a franchise model or corporate model. And what was interesting was I never heard of the company. And then once we got engaged with this client to help them grow their business. The minute they told me about Mathnasium, the very next day when I went to the gym, I realized that my gym was sitting next to Mathnasium. I didn't even know it was there. Why? And that's a lot of what I'm going to talk about today. Whether you're a gym, whether you're a spa, whether you're a nail salon, whether you own a restaurant, whether you are a local service provider, maybe you're a pool service company, this works for literally anyone. In fact, I can tell you about a company that was a pool service company that we worked with here in Henderson, Nevada. And due to his family situation, he didn't want to service pools all the way across town. Now, here in Las Vegas, that's a 35-minute drive across town, which doesn't sound like a lot depending on where you live in the country. But when you've got young children, you got to pick them up from school and things go wrong. And if you're 35 minutes, that could be a big deal. Well, he only wanted to do pool services in his immediate 3 to 5 mile radius around where he lived. And this strategy worked for him. So I got unbelievable number of examples of this, but let me get into the strategy that we use on Meta to drive brand visibility literally within a week. And then it just continues to compound. So one of the things many of you don't know about Meta is you can run video ads. Everyone knows that in social media today, everyone is engaging with Instagram Reels and TikToks and the vertical video, right? Well, there are a lot of things you can do for literally not much money to start driving brand awareness, top of mind awareness, start putting your point of view in the market, getting people to know who you are so you can get the know, like, and trust factor. And this is a part of our framework called the ATM strategy, the ATM framework, the attention, time, and money strategy. And what this means is this is the A part, and it can be a part of the T component. Why is this important? Well, number one, when we're wanting to sell our products and services, especially if we're not selling an emergency service, now this can work for an emergency service, but when the product or service isn't an emergency, right? Getting a new pool service cleaner is not an emergency, right? Going to the gym is not an emergency. Like, it's a want to, not a have to. There's all kinds of things. Going to a specific restaurant, it's a want to, not a have to. It doesn't matter what you sell, but if you're selling something discretionary, then it's better that people know who you are so that when they're ready, they know to go do it with you. So how does it work? Well, it works with the same thing that helps people go viral today organically, and all we do is use the ad auction to help push that going faster. So what we do, and we recommend to all of our clients, is if you're a service provider who sells a professional service, we recommend that you sit down and answer 6 to 10 frequently asked questions on your smartphone sitting on a tripod right in front of you. Or if you're in a virtual environment, jump on a tool like Zoom or Riverside or one of those sorts of digital video recording platforms and have someone ask you these frequently asked questions. I mean, listen, in your business, whatever you sell, there are probably 30 to 50 questions that a good prospect will ask you throughout the buyer's journey. Maybe not everyone will ask you the same questions, but I'm sure you've got a pool. Well, to get started, you just need about 6 to 10 of these questions. What you're going to do is just literally speak the question that they would ask you and then give the answer. Here's a quick example. Coming to my agency, people are always asking us about SEO. And by the way, I think SEO has just about had its heyday. That's for another video. But they'll come to me and say, well, Darrell, how long is it going to take for us to rank on the first page of Google for this particular keyword? Well, the funny part about that question is, and while it's a frequently asked question, and it's actually the wrong question, there is an answer, and it's a terrible answer, and it's called it depends. And it depends on 3 to 4 to 5 factors, and I would go through that in my video. So I would say, one of the frequently asked questions that people come ask me at the agency is how long it's going to take to rank on the first page of Google for their primary keyword. Well, the way that works is this, and I just give the answer. That's kind of a quick way to think about it. You're going to record these 5 or 6 or 10 videos. Once you're done with that, you're going to go into Meta. And you're going to use what we call an engagement campaign. And an engagement campaign, a lot of people think of these as boosted posts, or they think of these as the awareness objective, but we very specifically like to use the engagement campaign optimized for video views. So an engagement campaign optimized for video views. Why? And we optimize not just for video views, but we optimize for through plays, which is a 15-second video view. And the reason why we like that is because we want someone to we don't want to just get someone's attention. We want them to spend a little bit of time on our content. So we're not talking about sending cat videos on the internet. We're not talking about doing sizzle reels. We're not talking about 6-second clips that you can create with one of the video apps. We're talking about giving someone real content, real thought leadership, real expertise around their ideal problem or situation. And this video should probably be somewhere between 45 seconds to now maybe up to 3 minutes, depending on what platform you're working on. But I know many of you don't like to do video, so let's keep it as short as possible and aim for 45 seconds. By the way, we have a framework for how you can script these videos using AI. You can script these videos using ChatGPT or Claude, and then you can use the app that is our favorite, which is called Captions, and you can literally have the transcript right in front of you, so it doesn't even look like you have to memorize the video. Okay, that's for another video. The videos are created. You're going to go into your engagement campaign setting, and you're literally going to put every video on $1 per day to start. Why? Why don't we do $10 a day? Well, couldn't we reach people faster? Yes, you could. Our goal is to get their attention. Once we have their attention, we want to get them to spend some time listening to how we solve their problem. People buy because of their desire to solve a problem. They don't buy because your product's good. They don't buy because your food's good. They don't buy because your tutoring's good. They don't buy because your wine is good. And the thing that's been interesting is we've done this since 2014 on Meta ads for all sorts of industries. Again, restaurants, we've done it for so many. We did it for a winery. We've done it for everyone. The goal is to get people's attention who could be your ideal customer. Get them to know, like, and trust you, very much the way television, radio, and billboards used to do. So we've just replicated it and duplicated it on Meta. And what we're doing is we're building a big pool of people in your area who know who you are, know what you do, know what problem you can solve, so that if they encounter the desire to solve that problem for themselves, you are already top of mind. I don't know in your marketplace if you can think about all of the types of advertising that you see, whether you're driving down your freeway and you see billboards on the side of the road. I would bet or TV, I guarantee right now you can think of an advertiser, whether that's a lawyer or whether that's a pet store or whether that's a gym or whether that's whatever it might be. In your market, someone has your top of mind awareness because they're using this strategy, whether you need them or not. There's one in our local market here in our city, and there's an attorney. There's actually a few, but there's this one where I know his phone number right this second, and I've never had a need for his services. Why? Because he knows that eventually there's a percentage of people who are going to need his service, whether it's today or 10 years from now. And I've been seeing his ads for over 20 years. And so what we're trying to do is mirror this idea of your being known. Why did the soul food restaurant go out of business? Because they were obscure. Even though they were sitting in plain sight, they didn't take advantage of letting the neighborhood know that they were there, right? I was thinking about our winery client out of California, a wonderful, wonderful family-owned winery. They've been a client of ours for a few years. And I remember her telling me one of their biggest pains. And she says, we're right between two majorly known wineries, and people are driving right by us because they don't know that we're right here. And she was contemplating, I believe, an $80,000 a year billboard campaign. And I said, what if we could replicate that for just a few $100s per month on Meta? And she was like, I'm all ears. So we taught her the strategy. And then in her case, we're not doing thought leadership stuff because it's a winery, because winery is a very social topic. So now we're saying, take pictures of your wine, take videos of your events. You know, they would have wine tastings and all of these things. And to my knowledge, to this day, she's still running these campaigns. I'd imagine she's still running them because they are doing the job of getting people's attention and getting people to spend time to consider coming to her winery. So listen, today's video was really about brand visibility, right? So many of you just want to chase leads and sales, and I get it. It's very important. But right now, one of the challenges in marketing that most of us face is that just no one knows who we are. We are literally obscure to some of our best prospects and customers. And sometimes when you do digital, you just have to start with the basics. Can I get my ideal person's attention? Can I get them to spend some time with my brand so that they know who I am, so that they like what we do? And then if and when they have the need, they can then transact the money. It's a model that I learned many, many years ago. And I think I was blessed to sell a lot of, be involved with businesses that had what we call long-term sales cycles. So I developed a muscle for patience in the buyer's journey. And I find today that so many of you are so impatient. You want it to happen now. You want it to happen like magic. Well, the truth is, marketing isn't magic. It's a muscle and it's a discipline that works over time. So the ATM strategy is what I share with you today. For those of you that would like to know exactly how it works step by step, if you're not too experienced with working on the Meta platform or shooting the videos or knowing what to do or knowing what scripts to use inside of AI, perfectly fine. We've got a solution for you down in the description below. Feel free to take a look at coming into our inner circle. Or if you're an agency and you really want to not just do the brand awareness piece, but you want to do the lead gen piece, you want to build a pipeline in this modern digital era, our team is willing to help. So reach out to us if you have any questions with that. Until then, hopefully this helps you shift your mind so you can shift your results. And I'll see you again on another episode of the Mindshift Podcast. Peace.